The American dream. It's the idea that anyone, regardless of background, can achieve success through hard work and determination. A cornerstone of this dream, home ownership. But what happens when this dream feels increasingly out of reach for many hard-working Americans? The Senate's recent approval of home loans for illegal migrants has sent shockwaves across the nation, igniting a firestorm of controversy. The halls of Congress are no stranger to heated debates, but few issues have sparked such a firestorm as the recent decision to approve home loans for illegal migrants. Proponents argue that providing a pathway to home ownership for undocumented immigrants will bolster the economy and create stable communities. However, the opposition sees this as a betrayal of the rule of law that will incentivize illegal immigration. They fear this move will exacerbate the housing crisis, driving up prices and pushing home ownership further out of reach for struggling American families. News channels are flooded with experts dissecting every angle, while social media has become a battleground of opinions. One thing is clear, this decision has struck a nerve, exposing deep-seated anxieties and divisions within American society. The implications of this decision extend far beyond the halls of Congress, reaching into the homes and lives of everyday Americans. Whether you're a homeowner concerned about property value, an immigrant seeking a better life, or simply a citizen invested in the future of our nation, this issue demands your attention. Will this decision lead to a surge in home ownership and economic growth, or will it trigger a housing crisis, pricing out hard-working Americans? The ramifications of this decision will be felt in every corner of American society. The question is, are we ready for it? The Housing Opportunity and Equity Act aims to provide access to federally backed mortgage loans for undocumented immigrants. The bill's core provision emphasizes home ownership as a pathway to stability and integration. It proposes expanding eligibility for government-backed mortgage programs to include undocumented immigrants who meet specific criteria. These criteria include a history of paying taxes, a thorough criminal background check, and certain creditworthiness standards. Supporters argue that these safeguards are sufficient to prevent abuse and that the potential benefits far outweigh the risks. They envision a future where undocumented immigrants can emerge as responsible homeowners, contributing to their communities. Delving deeper into the bill reveals a complex web of conditions and caveats. One stipulation requires undocumented immigrants to have resided in the US continuously for at least 5 years prior to applying for a loan. The bill mandates that undocumented immigrants seeking home loans must obtain a Social Security number or ITN. Another contentious aspect involves loan forgiveness. Undocumented immigrants who default on their mortgages will not be eligible for government-backed loan forgiveness programs. This provision seeks to mitigate the risk to taxpayers. Critics argue that this creates an uneven playing field, as American citizens facing financial hardship may be eligible for loan forgiveness programs while undocumented immigrants are not. The decision to approve home loans for illegal migrants has ignited a fierce debate about American identity, economic fairness, and the rule of law. Proponents argue that the government has a moral obligation to provide opportunities for all residents, regardless of their immigration status. They contend that providing home loans to undocumented immigrants would boost the housing market and create jobs. Opponents view it as a betrayal to American citizens who are struggling to achieve the American dream. They argue that it is unfair to reward individuals who have broken the law by entering the country illegally. This clash of visions reflects a deeper anxiety about the changing face of America. The Senate's decision to open the doors of home ownership to undocumented immigrants has thrown a wrench into the American housing market. Proponents envision a revitalized housing market, fueled by a surge in demand from new home buyers. They argue that this injection of capital will breathe new life into struggling communities. Critics warn that the influx of new buyers could overwhelm an already strained housing market, pushing prices higher. The impact of this policy will depend on various factors, including the number of undocumented immigrants who qualify for loans and the overall health of the economy. The debate over home loans for illegal immigrants lays bare a fundamental divide within American society. Supporters see this decision as a step towards a more inclusive and equitable society. They envision a more just and compassionate society where everyone has a fair shot at achieving the American dream. Opponents feel this decision is a betrayal to hard-working Americans. This clash of visions reflects a deeper anxiety about the changing face of America. The ramifications of this decision extend far beyond housing policy, touching upon issues of immigration, identity, and the fabric of American society. It has sparked a national conversation about what it means to be an American and who deserves a place at the table. The debate over home loans for illegal immigrants is, at its core, a debate about the American dream itself. This decision has the potential to reshape the social and political landscape of the nation. The outcome of this social experiment remains to be seen. At the heart of the debate lies a fundamental question. Are we a nation of laws or a nation of compassion? Proponents argue that true justice requires compassion and that denying undocumented immigrants the opportunity to build a better life is morally wrong. They contend that the current immigration system creates a permanent underclass vulnerable to exploitation. Opponents counter that compassion cannot come at the expense of the rule of law. They fear that this decision will incentivize more illegal immigration, further straining resources and exacerbating social tensions. When dreams collide with principles. The decision to approve home loans for illegal immigrants presents a profound moral dilemma. It's a debate that transcends political ideologies, cutting to the core of who we are as a nation. On one hand, everyone deserves a chance to succeed, that the American dream should be accessible to all. Proponents argue it's a moral imperative to level the playing field and create a just society. They point to stories of undocumented immigrants overcoming obstacles, contributing to their communities and enriching the nation. Denying them opportunities betrays American ideals. On the other hand, rewarding illegal behavior undermines the rule of law. Opponents argue it's unfair to those who played by the rules. They worry it will erode respect for the law, encouraging more illegal entries. They believe the government's duty is to its citizens. Providing special treatment to lawbreakers is a dereliction of duty. Section 3. A slippery slope or a path to progress. Navigating uncharted territory. The Senate's decision to approve home loans for illegal immigrants has thrust America into uncharted territory, embarking on a social experiment with potentially far-reaching consequences. Will this be the first step down a slippery slope, leading to a wholesale dismantling of immigration enforcement? Or could it be a bold step towards a more just and compassionate society, one that embraces diversity and recognizes the contributions of all its members? The potential outcomes are as diverse and complex as the nation itself. It could lead to a surge in home ownership among undocumented immigrants, boosting the housing market and stimulating economic growth. It could foster a greater sense of belonging and civic engagement among immigrant communities, strengthening the social fabric of the nation. However, it could also lead to unintended consequences, such as a spike in housing prices that makes it even harder for working-class Americans to afford a home. It could strain social services and exacerbate tensions between communities, fueling resentment and division. Navigating this uncharted territory will require careful consideration, thoughtful dialogue, and a willingness to adapt to changing circumstances. There are no easy answers, no guaranteed outcomes, The path forward will be fraught with challenges, but it also presents an opportunity to reaffirm our values, to define what it means to be an American in the 21st century. John and Maria, a tale of two dreams. Meet John, a hard-working American saving to buy his first home. He works long hours to provide for his family. Now meet Maria, an undocumented immigrant fleeing poverty and violence. She works tirelessly as a seamstress, supporting her family back home. The Senate's decision has brought John and Maria's paths into a collision course. Both strive for home ownership, but the playing field feels tilted. This is the human face of this complex issue, dreams colliding, hopes intertwined. Policy decisions shape the lives of everyday Americans, citizens and immigrants alike. The face of change, real lives, real stakes. Across the nation, countless stories like John and Maria's are unfolding, each one a testament to the profound impact of this decision. In rural communities where affordable housing is already scarce, the influx of new homebuyers could push prices beyond the reach of local residents, forcing families to leave the only homes they've ever known. In urban centres where gentrification is already reshaping neighbourhoods, this policy could further displace long-time residents, erasing the cultural fabric of communities and widening the gap between the haves and have-nots. The ripple effects of this decision will be felt in classrooms where schools grapple with the influx of new students and in healthcare systems where resources are already stretched thin. The stakes are high, not just for individuals like John and Maria, but for the very soul of America. Can we absorb a wave of new homeowners without exacerbating existing inequalities? Can we maintain a sense of social cohesion in the face of rapid demographic change? These are questions with no easy answers, questions that will test the limits of our compassion, our ingenuity, and our commitment to the ideals of fairness and opportunity. This is not simply an academic debate about immigration policy. It's about real lives, real families, real communities grappling with the forces of change. It's about the American dream itself and who gets to share in its promise. A crossroads of choices, navigating the human impact. As we stand at this crossroads, faced with the daunting task of navigating the human impact of this decision, we must proceed with both empathy and wisdom. It's easy to get swept up in the rhetoric, to demonize those who hold different views, to retreat into our ideological trenches. But the challenges we face demand a more nuanced and compassionate approach. We must acknowledge the very real anxieties of American citizens who feel left behind, who fear that their voices are no longer being heard, who worry that the American dream is slipping out of reach. Their concerns are valid and deserve to be addressed, not dismissed. At the same time, we must recognize the humanity of undocumented immigrants who came to this country seeking a better life, who work hard, pay taxes, and contribute to their communities. To deny them the opportunity to build a stable future is not only unjust, but also counterproductive to the long-term health of our nation. The path forward lies in finding common ground, in bridging the divides that separate us, in embracing the complexities of this issue without resorting to simplistic solutions. This will require honest dialogue, a willingness to listen to each other's perspectives, and a shared commitment to finding solutions that work for all Americans. The American dream, evolving or eroding. The Senate's decision to approve home loans for illegal immigrants has thrown a Molotov cocktail into the heart of the American conversation. It's a tangled web of economic anxieties, social tensions, and political maneuvering. The American dream, once a beacon of hope, now feels like a battleground, with different factions vying for their piece of the pie. Is this the natural evolution of the American dream? Adapting to the changing demographics and realities of a globalized world? Or is it a sign of its erosion, a testament to a system that is increasingly rigged against the average American? There are no easy answers, no black and white solutions. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in the grey areas. It lies in recognizing the legitimate concerns of hardworking Americans who feel left behind, while also acknowledging the contributions and aspirations of immigrants who contribute to the rich tapestry of American life. The conversation continues. Your voice, your future. This isn't just a political football to be tossed around by pundits and politicians. This is about your life, your community, your future. It's about the kind of America we want to pass down to future generations. Will we choose division and fear, building walls and pitting neighbor against neighbor? Or will we choose unity and hope, embracing our shared humanity and working together to create a more just and equitable society for all? The answer lies not in silencing dissenting voices, but in amplifying them all. It lies in engaging in respectful dialogue, in seeking common ground, in recognizing that we are all in this together. This conversation doesn't end when the credits roll, it starts now. Share this video, spark a discussion, make your voice heard. The future of the American dream depends on it.